In recent times, we've seen a lot of talk about electric vehicles, EVs, and how they're the future of transportation. But here's the thing, not everything about this future is as bright as it seems. If you're watching this, you're probably interested in the latest trends and changes in the auto industry. So, before we dive into the challenges and uncertainties surrounding EVs, let me remind you to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. Now, let's get into it. One of the big headlines lately is the potential drop in EV prices. On the surface, that might sound like good news, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Lower prices often come with bigger problems. Why? Because companies like Tesla, Ford, and GM are already selling their EVs at a loss. Tesla, for instance, has cut its prices 3 times in just 1 quarter. If that doesn't raise red flags, I don't know what will. The CEO of Stellantis, the parent company of Jeep, Carlos Tavares, has been vocal about this. He's not convinced that EVs are the answer. In fact, he's warned that there isn't enough raw material on Earth to produce EVs on a mass scale. And let's be honest, he's got a point. If we keep pushing for more EVs without considering the supply chain, we might find ourselves in a tight spot. Tavares goes a step further, arguing that the current push for EVs might end up hurting the middle class more than helping it. The cost of production is high, and if it doesn't go down, these vehicles will remain out of reach for most people. But the problems don't stop there. Jeep recently had to recall thousands of its vehicles due to safety issues, including fire risks in their hybrid models. Imagine buying a new car and then hearing that it could catch fire. Not exactly comforting, right? And it's not just about fires. There have been other recalls due to faulty cameras, airbags, and brakes. These issues make you wonder, are we rushing too fast into an all-electric future without fully addressing the risks? Speaking of risks, let's talk about China. Did you know that a huge chunk of the materials needed for EV batteries comes from China? This isn't just an economic concern, it's also a security issue. Recently, China placed restrictions on the export of some of these materials. This could have a massive impact on the global EV market. What happens if those materials become harder to get or more expensive? We're left with a dilemma. How do we sustain the growth of EVs without a reliable supply chain? The US government, under President Biden, has been pushing for more EV production. They've introduced incentives and subsidies to encourage both consumers and manufacturers to go electric. But not everyone is on board. Some people, including former President Donald Trump, have voiced strong opposition, promising to end these subsidies if they get the chance. This political tug-of-war creates uncertainty in the market. Will the incentives stick around, or will they disappear? It's a question that keeps both consumers and automakers on edge. And then there's the infrastructure issue. EVs need charging stations, lots of them, especially if we want them to replace traditional cars. But right now, the infrastructure just isn't there, especially in remote areas. And let's not forget that EV batteries lose efficiency in extreme temperatures, which is a big problem for anyone living in a place with harsh winters or scorching summers. Without a robust network of charging stations and better battery technology, how can we expect people to make the switch? Given all these challenges, it's no surprise that some experts are calling for alternatives to pure electric vehicles. Carlos Tavares suggests that instead of ditching combustion engines entirely, we should focus on hybrids or explore other technologies like ammonia or hydrogen fuel cells. These options might not be perfect, but they offer a middle ground, a way to reduce emissions without completely overhauling the existing infrastructure. So, where does this leave the average consumer? If production costs for EVs don't come down, they'll stay out of reach for most people. This is especially true for the middle class, who Tavares argues are already being left behind in this transition. If we're not careful, we could end up with a future where only the wealthy can afford to drive electric, while everyone else is stuck with older, less efficient technology. In the end, the future of EVs is far from certain. There are significant hurdles to overcome, from raw material shortages and recalls to political debates and infrastructure gaps. As we move forward, it's important to consider these challenges and not just assume that EVs are the silver bullet to solve all our transportation problems. As always, stay informed, think critically, and don't hesitate to question the narrative. If you found this discussion helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more insights and updates on the latest in the automotive world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.